Good morning. My name is Chuck Cook. I welcome you this morning. Thank you for being here. We're here to introduce to the community the Stop Houston Murders PAC. We're going to talk about who we are and why we formed this PAC. Who we are is we're a bipartisan group of ordinary citizens, sons and daughters, parents and grandparents, brothers and sisters of murdered Houstonians. We're comprised of various races, sexes, ages. We live in different parts of Houston, but the thing that binds us together, our common bond, is that we've all lost loved ones to violent criminals who've been let out on bond or no bond. Why we formed this PAC was to educate the public, remove those responsible from office, and restore a functioning criminal justice society to Houston. We are fed up with this senselessness. My ticket to this PAC was my mother. My mother's name was Rosalie Cook. She was 80 years old. She was a widow. And she was a great lady. She was the elderly lady that you read about in kids' books. She was short, plump, walked with a cane, reading glasses down on her nose. You'd find her most of the time in her rocking chair, either knitting or reading a book. She loved when people came to visit her. All she would do then is jump up and make your favorite meal. That was her joy. She was the vulnerable of the vulnerable, and she knew that. And so she didn't take chances. However, on a Saturday 2 years ago, she ran her errands at Walgreens, went inside the store after she parked in the handicap spot just in front of the door, and when she came out, a man by the name of Randy Lewis met her, stabbed her, took her purse and her car keys. My mom died on the hot asphalt of the Walgreens parking lot, murdered by a man who had 67 prior convictions, was out on 2 public recognizance bonds, which are get out of jail free cards for felonies. After the shock wore off, I was resolved to do something about this. I didn't want anybody else to have to go through this. And unfortunately, my mom's story is not unique. And here today are other members of our group to tell you their story. Please welcome Amy Castillo.
Right behind you, Chuck.
Excuse me, Amy.
Hello. Joshua Xavier Sandoval. He was one of a kind. He was smart, kind, funny, loyal, handsome, charismatic, sweet, and thoughtful. He was unlike anyone you had ever met. Until one night, he was met by his murderer who was out on bond. Joss was shot in the heart and left for dead. Why was his murderer able to commit this crime? Because 339th District Court Judge Tavia Bell granted him with 2 felony bonds prior in the year. Because when he missed a mandated court week the week before, Judge Bell did not issue a warrant. Because on the day of getting an ankle monitor, he participated in murdering my brother instead. The Harris County justice system is broken. Under the current judges, My brother's murderer knew he could commit crimes such as aggravated assault of a police officer, robbery, and murder, and he would face no consequences. Today, he is a free man because 185th District Court Judge Jason Luong set his bail at $500,000. My brother's life was worth more than 10% of $500,000. My brother's life was priceless. Josh had a right to be out in public and not targeted by violent criminals that Harris County judges keep allowing back on the streets. The time is now for these judges to be removed. They do not serve the greater good of Harris County. The law-abiding citizens of Harris County demand better. Exercise your right and vote for judges who will be tough on criminals, because all of our lives depend on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I'd like to introduce Glenda Martin, Joshua Sandoval's mother.
Hi, good morning. Thank you all for coming today. My heart is really heavy. I don't have a lot to say, just extremely devastated to be here, and being a part of this club is, I just never thought I would have to be here. And I agree with Amy. Something has to be done. My only son, Joshua Sandoval, was murdered. And I think about this every day. My life has been changed drastically. And I'm just lost for words. Something truly has to be done. And again, I'd just like to thank you guys for being here on our behalf.
Thanks, Glenda. Please welcome Lourdes Medina.
Good morning. My name is Lourdes Medina. I am the daughter of Martha Medina, the 71-year-old lady who was ran over at a parking lot while coming out of a McDonald's on Uvalde Street. My mother was a very sweet person. She was an exemplary person as a citizen, as a mother, as a grandmother. She's the type of grandmother everybody in here would want to have. She was sweet, devoted to her family, to her grandchildren, to her kids. She did anything in her hands to make anybody smile on a bad day. She would cook you a warm meal. She would do chicken soup when you had a cold. She was the kind to go visit you if you were at the hospital or even if you were at jail. She had this compassion for people. Something obviously all these criminals are not giving us. They're not giving anything back to society. On September 23rd of last year, my mother was doing what most grandmothers would do. She was buying breakfast from McDonald's to take to her grandkids, to me. And she was ran over. They stole her, Andrew Williams stole her purse, ran her over in order to not get caught. He was already out on bond for a capital murder charge. And Judge Hillary Unger was the one to set a low bond and let him out. I'm convinced to this day that if she had not taken that decision, my mother would still be here. And this is the reason why I'm standing here. I never intended to be part of a group like this. My mom is gone. Nobody and no one is giving her back to me. However, my family's still here. I'm here. My nieces, my nephews, my family members are still here. And I don't ever want to go through this again. I don't wish this upon anybody either, for I am still to this day suffering that loss. I believe that part of the responsibility is in our hands as citizens. We need to take responsibility. We need to educate on ourselves on what candidates are out there. We need to speak out. We need to vote. This is the only way that we can get these judges out of the bench. By these judges setting low bonds, I mean, criminals, there's no fear. There's no respect for authority. Criminals are just playing in Houston, doing whatever they want because they know they're going to get out. These judges have a responsibility with us as a society, as a community, as citizens. We're the ones that are paying them. They are the ones to service us, however they seem to be on criminal side. This has to stop. We need to vote. We need to do our research. We need to educate ourselves better. Thank you.
Thank you, Lourdes. Now I'd like to introduce you to Sarah Mejia. She was Martha Medina's sister, and she'll give her talk in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking community.
Buenos días, me llamo Sara Mejía, soy hermana de Marta Medina, quien fue asesinada por un criminal que estaba libre bajo fianza y tenía un cargo anterior de homicidio y un largo historial criminal desde 1998. La razón por la que yo estoy aquí esta mañana es para crear conciencia en la ciudadanía de que los jueces demócratas no están cumpliendo con su deber de proteger a la sociedad y tal parece que les interesa más estar al lado de los criminales, permitiéndoles salir de la cárcel en fianzas muy bajas, independientemente del riesgo al que someten a la comunidad. Estos jueces son directamente culpables por el alto índice de asesinatos y violencia en Houston y pido que se les destituya por su falta de compromiso y responsabilidad hacia la ciudadanía. Mi petición para ustedes es que se involucren y apoyen esta causa para hacer de Houston una ciudad más segura para nuestras familias, nuestros amigos y la comunidad en general. Hoy soy yo quien está frente a ustedes, pero mañana podría ser usted, usted o usted. Nadie estamos libres de esta amenaza criminal que está sucediendo en la ciudad de Houston. Les pido que hagan valer su derecho al voto en noviembre, eligiendo a representantes cuya prioridad sea salvaguardar la vida de sus constituyentes. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
I'll say a few words, Chuck. If y'all allow me.
No, I can't.
No problem.
We have to bring this to an end. Thank you. The story is too common today. There's two takeaways I want you to leave here with. What is the solution? Get rid of the current regime at the courthouse and elect judges who care about keeping families safe and dangerous criminals off the street. The main point is the buck stops with the judges. They have the power to keep dangerous criminals off the street. They have the discretion to set the amount of bail. But unfortunately, these Democrat judges side with criminals by letting them back onto the streets and betray the public they're elected to serve. Their job is really to seek justice for crimes that have already occurred and limit the impact of repeat offenders to society. The second thing I want you to take away is we don't need politicians to make a difference. We don't need legislation to make a difference. We don't need to wait on those take too long. We can make a difference together. Your voice counts. We're hoping to raise the sound of the voices of the silent majority and vote these guys out of off the bench. You can make a difference by voting. If you ask me who to vote for, I can't tell you. Who I can tell you not to vote for. All of these judges are Democrats. So simply, as you go down the ballot, vote for whoever's running against the Democrat judge. We need judges who will hold serious and repeat offenders accountable. Those who will restore accountability and consequences to the criminal justice system. So whatever your politics, we as Houstonians must all agree on this. These judges' conduct are a violation of their oath and a complete dereliction of their duty. Let me try saying that again. We as Houstonians must agree that these judges' conduct are a violation of their oath and a complete dereliction of their duty to our community. Together we can end judge violence. Go to StopHoustonMurders.com, sign up, join with us, and let our voices be heard. Thank you for your time and your attention. You're here. We're gonna be around, and my friend wants to say something, and we're also here to answer questions for those who are comfortable. Okay. April's not going to say anything. We'll take questions.
We would like to have another person to speak in Spanish for the Spanish media. Let's get Lourdes.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Lourdes Medina, soy hija de Marta Medina, la abuelita o señora de 71 años que le robaron su bolso y le quitaron la vida atropellándola en un estacionamiento de McDonald's. Estoy aquí para alzar la voz, no por mi mamá, porque ya no hay nada que regrese a mi mamá, a nuestra familia, sino porque yo todavía estoy aquí, porque tengo familiares, sobrinos, sobrinas, que también todavía están aquí. No quiero volver a pasar por esta pesadilla, ni es algo que le deseo a ninguna familia en nuestra comunidad. Estoy convencida hasta el día de hoy de que mi mamá seguiría con nosotros si no hubiera sido por la jueza Hillary Unger, que decidió dejar a Andrew Williams, que fue la persona que atropelló a mi mamá, con una fianza baja. Él ya tenía un cargo por haber cometido un homicidio y a ella no le importó ese historial, que tenía un extenso historial, y aún así tomó la decisión de dejarlo libre. Estoy convencida que si ella no hubiera tomado esa decisión, mi mamá seguiría con nosotros. Estoy aquí para alzar la voz, para pedirles que ejerzan su voto, para que tomen acción, para que sean partícipes. Todos vivimos en esta comunidad, todos somos responsables también de que estos jueces demócratas estén haciendo esas decisiones, porque nosotros los hemos elegido muchas veces sin informarnos, sin educarnos, sin saber cuáles son sus ideales, cuáles son los planes que traen, cuáles son sus agendas. Simplemente vamos y votamos. Este no es un tema político para discutir, no. Es cuestión de saber quién es honesto, de saber quién tiene los mejores intereses de nuestra comunidad, de saber quién de veras tiene ese deseo de servirnos como ciudadanos y que esté viendo por nuestra seguridad. Porque como se están viendo las cosas, parece que estos jueces están del lado de los criminales. Y nosotros somos los que estamos pagando sus cheques. Nosotros estamos dándole comer a esas personas. Nosotros estamos dándoles comer a sus familias. Ellos tienen una responsabilidad para con nosotros. Entonces tenemos que exigir esa responsabilidad. ¿Cómo? Por medio del voto. Hagan sus voces escuchar, únanse a nosotros, por favor, para que esto no vuelva a pasar en nuestras comunidades, porque se está viendo cada vez con más frecuencia y esto no va a parar a menos que nosotros tomemos una acción. Gracias.
Thank you, Lourdes.
going to be pushing for legislative changes as well on the county level or the state level?
Not this time. Our focus is singular in function, and we believe that the greatest good we can do for the community is to get these judges off the bench. They have let out over 3,200 violent criminals out onto the streets. We can't imagine what another 3,200 will mean. It's got to end. A leopard does not change their spots. These judges are not going to change. The only thing we can do is let our voices be heard and fire them.
Anybody else? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for everybody for coming.
Thank you, everybody.